Da-da-da-da-da-da. You know what? I want to do a whole jazz cover here, but I'll just stop.
Yeah.
Welcome
I'll let you.
everybody.
I'll wait.
I have to get my drum kit. Oh man. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. That's all I got.
Oh
I
no,
don't
I
actually
didn't
know the
mean it.
rest.
Don't really do it. Don't really do it.
Hey everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is Ian here along with Chris,
Hi.
and we are hot off the trail from Incredibles 2.
You are hot off the trail of Incredibles 2. I'm hot off the trail of both of them.
Yeah, now you did a double header.
I watched the first one for the first time. Yes, 14 years it's been out, and I just watched it. I've seen clips of it over
Yeah.
the years, but I watched it for the first time to get ready to watch this one.
Cool.
Yeah, so I've had plenty of Pixar action here.
Bes-
And you can wear on you.
it can.
You
It
can
can.
get sick of it.
Besides, let me ask now. In that whole gap of time, I know it's been forever since Incredibles 1 came out. What's the last Pixar film you saw before seeing this?
Up.
Up. That's
So
a good one.
it's been several years.
Yeah, it has. It has.
I don't. I mean, someday in maybe the Jagged Edge or our weekly show, I'll go over my love relationship with Disney, or actually, I should just say hate-love relationship with.
Hate love.
Um, I'll go over sometime, but there are reasons why I have massive gaps of Disney movies in my life. So.
Come on. Maybe that could be why you don't want to go with Donald and Goofy on a magical adventure.
No, screw them. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I
That's
couldn't help it.
At face value, I have no problem with a game picking a half-naked duck that has a speech impediment, walking around in an RPG. The fact that it's playing homage to a cartoon character from Disney that has been around for decades, it feels like it's inserting itself in a genre that it really doesn't belong in.
Gotcha. Well, there you have that.
Generally speaking, though, I totally applaud and support the half-naked duck running around. I'm all for that.
Right on.
Although I have always thought it's kind of weird. It's been a staple in cartoons for decades. Why do they just put the shirt on him?
You know,
It's not just him either.
no, it isn't. It isn't. You know, and it's strange. The times that they actually choose shoes or whatever is like when you don't have something interesting, and I think it has to come down with identifying the character. Like, okay, for Mickey, right? Like his foot would probably be a lot less interesting than Donald Duck. See, that's when you get a big old cartoony shoe on Goofy, and then you get web feet for Donald because he's a duck. Get it, duck.
Well, fine shoes, but why not pants?
Well, you
And-
gotta see his little fluffy tail. I mean,
They do this where like and even in the same shows, they'll wear like a jacket or they'll wear a shirt and no pants, but then other characters will wear pants as well. Or whatever. Get some consistency going. No, just kidding. Who cares? They're cartoon shows for kids, but still, you gotta look at like what? It's like the whole finger thing.
the finger thing. I get you. Like the four fingers and the
Yeah, why
Yeah.
are they missing a finger?
Yeah.
That's more widespread though. That's almost universal.
It is Family Guy and
That's like a rule.
yeah. Because this is a cartoon.
Yeah.
Well,
You did that, Pinky.
with Incredibles, we get some kind of fidelity, at least.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's actually talk about the movies.
yeah. So
You took me down that road.
I did. I don't regret it. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, Incredibles. This is good stuff.
Yeah, I thought this was fun.
It was incredible.
Gosh, you actually did it. Oh yeah.
And it was incredible too.
Oh. So, I'm just gonna go jump off this
Don't
bridge.
even. You did the thing, so I don't want to hear it.
You get a freebie. I'll give you a pass on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is set. It's kind of cool. We've had such a large chunk of time that's passed between this and the last movie that it feels almost natural that this movie would have a progression of time as well between the events of the last one. And of course, where we left off with supers. Where do superheroes stand in the world? How do the public view them? We had a real coming together of the family at the end of the first Incredibles movie. A real acknowledgement of everybody's spheres of power and that they can all chip in on this whole superhero gig, that this did not have to be just a gig, that Mr. Incredible himself took upon his shoulders.
Okay, so I have to actually ask you about something here. So now in this particular case,
Mm-hmm.
I actually got to the theater a little late. So I got in there about 2 or 3 minutes after the movie actually started. But they were taking on the Underminer, weren't they?
Sure were.
Isn't that exactly where the first movie left off?
If I recall, I believe so, because it had left off right at that high note,
Right.
and then boom.
So there was no passage of time at all.
Good point. If that, I mean, that's logically true.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure because I was like, maybe it was another fight or something, which I thought was the best way to do it, especially when watching the movie last night, the first one, and then seeing as it's like, well, they haven't aged at all, especially
Right.
the baby.
No, he's still the exact same.
Yeah, baby Jack, who's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll have to get into him.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many supers to describe in one.
The only thing that really can tell that some time has passed is that the technology that was used for these movies is clearly one is older than the other.
It is. There's a pretty huge difference when you look as far as what went into development of these and everything you have with it, but still, the whole feeling is still there. The very the cartoony style with the sort of. This is one of those few as well that the whole jazzed out theme I think really plays into the visuals.
Oh yeah,
you feel that, and it flows along well. So even with the graphical changes, even with the quality changes and things like that, what I'm glad is they didn't break this world. That all still feels very much together, still very much Incredibles and how this series should flow and how it should be. So that was an instant thumbs up from me.
No, yeah, the style, the feel, it's there. In fact, I would say from the first one to the second one, they've mastered it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Mastered that too in terms of just the type of action we get and just the pacing of it. It definitely seems a little more vibrant in this one. And I say that because from Incredibles 1, there was a lot more. I felt there was a lot more setup of Mr. Incredible getting his new gig, sort of getting immersed, getting involved in everything. The slow reveal of the actual villain, who's behind the scenes and his motivations and things like that. A lot less of that. Instant cut to the family trying to do what's right, and then the way the law enforcement world actually takes that. There's still a clear conflict here. The amount of destruction being caused and everything else that happens, people tend to forget the instance itself and say, oh, look at these superheroes and all the stuff they're wrecking again. This took me back to Hancock. Similar problem he ran into. He tried to do what was quote unquote right, but he pissed off everyone so much. He didn't care, of course, but there's still this problem, of course, of people saying superheroes are just messy. They wreck everything. They ruin lives. Why do we need them?
Well, it's true. It's a good problem for both the movies to deal with. And they do it in good ways. Yeah. So that's all I got on that.
Yeah. Cool. So we move right into what's happening here. Right in the first case, the Underminer himself gets away, and the Incredibles are left to deal with the whole trail of destruction they left, trying to stop his crazy contraption, messing up the whole town, and they're immediately taken into custody. They pull some strings. They manage to get out of the situation pretty quick, and they're still they're really on the ropes with this. What looked like a good, bright future and a good potential setup for them instantly kind of things really just turn in their head. They have a situation where if they don't do something quick, they're potentially facing poverty. Mr. Incredible himself wants to get back out there in the field more than anything, whereas really Elastigirl sees the need to take it slow, take time with family. Really try to look at the things that are important. So there's an immediate sort of conflict brought up there. This spills into their following dinner that night. They all have Asian in their conversation at the dinner table. They're really on different sides of this coin, but at the end of the day, they want the same thing. Now, luckily, fate has it that a chance falls in their lap. Frozone did not get arrested at the end of the dealing with the Underminer fallout, and he actually found a business card for someone who wants to give the team a hand. When he lets Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible know about this, of course Mr. Incredible's ready to go. He jumps at the chance. Life's a little more reserved about it. But we're quickly thrown into a new set of characters who actually, at least one of those characters, actually wants heroes around, actually grew up with being inspired by them, and sees the potential they have, not just for himself, but of course for the whole world. So enter mass media mode. I guess that's the best way to describe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you described it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is my biggest conflict with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure how to grade it, because if I grade it the way that I grade all the other things that we watch and we do, there's some parts of the plot and some things that they do in this movie that really hurt it.
Yeah.
But if I take it as it is, a movie that was obviously geared towards kids, but is for people of all ages, but geared towards kids, the superhero movie that isn't PG-13 is PG. You can take your kids to see it, whatever. Which, by the way, for the first time this year, a completely packed theater. I had to sit on the stairs and watch this movie.
You said it, really?
Yeah, because there was one spot, and I asked if someone had taken it. They had like a drink sitting, and it's like, oh, now we're saving it. No one ever moved into that seat the whole freaking movie. Liars. Yeah, so I was pretty stiff when I got off. He's like, oh, I've been sitting on the stairs all the time. No, but it was packed, half with kids. Most of the movies that we review don't allow for such a thing.
Right.
So, but if I grade it off of that, then it's fine. It's fine. But and I bring this up because you're talking about the plot. I had the plot of this movie figured out in like 2 minutes.
Right.
It was obvious.
Right.
It's like, oh, the villains, the screenslaver, and these people that want to help superheroes are from the number one telecommunication company in the world.
Right.
Oh. 2 + 2 = what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was very, the plot was extremely obvious and kind of piss poor. But so again, I'm not quite sure where I sit on this. Like, because on one hand, as someone just who reviews these movies for an adult, you're not going to get much out of this plot.
No.
But if you're, for the geared audience, I guess it's kind of fun because your kid can probably figure it out too, and they'll be like, oh, I know it.
And
what happened?
I think I really think that's the key here. It's sort of a mix. I think you hold stuff like this to a critical standard, but in the same hand, it's really, really hard to talk about this like you would a Die Hard movie or something like that, because it's just not that. This is yep. This is one I really think you have to take where it's at. I think even the big twist, and in case we didn't mention, in case you haven't caught on to it, there are spoilers here. So
I haven't quite connected all the dots, but I'm not telling you anything that really isn't obvious right away.
Right.
It's very obvious.
Yeah.
The moment you see the screensaver, it's like, oh, okay. Which, if you've seen ads for this movie as well, the trailers, you've already figured it out when you find out that the people who are bankrolling to bring superheroes back.
Yeah.
Telecommunication. All right. Here we go. It's all very obvious.
It's an inside job.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But here's the thing: the superhero action in this, the visuals are great. I mean, Pixar, look, they own this market still. They can put out a movie.
Yes, they do.
Every year or every 5 years, every 10 years, every single time you see a Pixar movie, it's like, yeah, this is still our industry.
Yeah. No, by far.
3D animated movies. This is us.
Yeah. That's the cool part too, seeing Pixar not losing their touch there. And I think the thing I've appreciated about them as a studio most over the years is their ability to vary the style of art that they use. Yeah. I mean, sure, it's all in 3D form, but each of their productions has a distinct look, has a distinct style and feel. That even goes down to some of the stuff you have before the programs, like that. You had the short film Bow. Before this,
again, missed it.
Yeah,
so there was a short film.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
See, that's why I thought it might have flashed up or something. But anyway,
what was it?
So it didn't have anything to do with Incredibles, but it was called Bow. It was cool. It was a short film no voiceover work to it. It was
Okay.
just audio, sound, and as far as music themes. But it was about a Chinese mother, and it was a narrative for how she had to let go of her son, of letting him blossom into adulthood, have his own life, have his own relationships, and everything, and her problems with letting go. And it was done in it was a fun way.
I think I've actually seen that.
Yeah, you might have online. She's like a really good chef, and it opens up with her making these steam buns, like the bows, and her husband is heading out the door for work, and she's just going through breakfast herself, and then she crunches down on one of these bows, and it comes to life, and it trips her out at first, but she goes through this whole process. She raises it, treats it as her own, watches out for it every day, and just cares and everything all the way, and all this time goes by to the point where it wants to have its own life. It wants to get free. It's branching out, finding relationships with others, all that good stuff. And she can't let it go, no matter what. She can't let it go out the door, and she kills it. She eats it. But she slowly wakes up from a dream. Yeah, and you realize that this whole thing for her was a display of or a way of telling how she can't let go of her son. But they end up making amends. Her actual son does come home, and they finally come back together. She's able to accept his life, accept his choices and things. They go for it. It was funny because, see, my theater was loaded too. There were so many kids. There was an audible gasp. Everybody freaking out as she just stuffed this thing in her mouth to keep him from running away, to keep him from going out the door. Everybody freaked out about that, and then they realized what all that actually meant. So, yeah,
Okay.
but fun at least.
So everything that you would expect out of the Pixar movies here. The art is great. The sound effects are great. The score is great.
Yep.
Everything's pretty good. Story is pretty weak. So I'm going to talk about something else I really didn't like. As much as I enjoyed it, there's way too much Jack gags in this movie.
Yeah, I was about to say it.
God, I mean, look, they were in the first few were hilarious. It's like, wow, you are really leaning heavy onto this.
Yeah,
it's way too much, way too much.
Yeah.
And again, that comes down to, I guess, your perspective on who's watching it and who it's for. But even then, I think even for little kids, I could notice that in the theater, people weren't laughing at Jack as much near the end as they were at the beginning.
Right. This is something that they lean on heavily that I think they just really didn't have to lean on.
Oh, see, that's the thing. No, they didn't at all.
No. So, that you get more than enough from Dash, from Violet. Frankly, as far as the younger members of the team, I love them. Their scenes are really fun, especially with Violet, going through the awkwardness of early teen years, trying not to be embarrassed to death, figure that out. Dash being the annoying little brother and everything else. I've always liked their interplay, and for me, I could take that over an overdose of Jack gags all day.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it just so much of the here's the crazy superpowers. The first time you really see him going nuts with the powers with the raccoon and all that, and that's great. That's great. But after a while, it's like, oh look, now he's giant and he's just he's ripping through the walls in a boat, which by the way would knock that boat on its side before he'd ever just rip right through the walls. But again, cartoon. I get it, but still, those are if I remember, those are steel walls that he's just ripping right through like they were made out of plaster.
Oh man!
But I mean, it's fine, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. That's a little overkill. I felt the theme wise, there's an obvious turnabout here of what this is trying to stay. For a movie that really tries to stay on that surface and be, a family movie, a kids movie, and everything. You got a clear point at this theme of the way families struggle today, of this idea of making ends meet. In this case, of a superhero family, of Mr. Incredible really just struggling over the idea that his wife could be A, more popular than him at what he thinks he's best at, and B, step into a role that he thinks he should only have. And besides making ends meet and the empowerment movement and everything like that, there's a lot of little points and pricks at today's world and stuff we look at, which doesn't make a giant splash or conflict with the overall theme. If anything, I think this is the kind of play that you'd almost expect from another. I mean, it's literally a direct turnaround from what we had in Incredibles 1, except this time you have Helen going out to do the work that Bob did before.
Yeah, Elastigirl is awesome, by the way.
She is. Yes, she is. Yeah. She is. She's. I love her bike too. Too bad that thing got wrecked.
Yeah. But I mean, no, I agree with what you're saying overall. This was a fun story that they did, but it's really, and I hate to sound like this, but I'm going to say what I'm about to say, and it's coming out of my mouth, and I hope people don't take it the wrong way. It's like, okay, I get it, and the story takes place, I believe, in the 70s, maybe late 60s. Mm-hmm. It's 2018, and this whole plot is falling kind of flat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get it, and even it's just, it's fine. It's Pixar, it's fine. But if I'm judging this beyond that, and I'm not grading it on a curve. Again, the plot, the stories in this movie are definitely the weakest part of the movie.
Yeah, there's a movement to try to be inclusive. A lot of current ideas we have today, or a lot of things that are happening, to sort of be aware, to show you're aware, to remember these things, to to place them in. But that isn't always a boon for a film or for a show or everything else. I've always been a firm believer that you have an established universe, an established world that you built up. You're able to bring that material in a way that can stand on its own. Of course, you can have some things that pair reality or that are actually like it. But you don't have to weave and interpolate to the point where, all right, we just included every modern thing for the sake of having, modern thing.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. That can come off as a little childish and awkward.
It's just a little bit too much heavy lifting to use that plot device nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, for what it is, it's fine. See, that's where you can see where I'm conflicted on this.
Yeah.
Because if this was any other kind of movie and I'm not grading this on a curve, I'm ripping this part of it apart.
Right.
But it just seemed like the Jack stuff. But it is what it is. It's Pixar movie. That being said, nobody really wants or needs a heavy-handed plot for this film.
No.
So yeah.
And for what it's worth, despite how light it was, I thought in some ways, for its own self-contained world here, this did a little bit more heavy lifting than the first, trying to push that. I thought it was less superficial. Whether that's I think people are free to interpret if that's a good or a bad thing. If they want it as light as the first or a little more effort as the second did, or if that feels awkward. But me though, as far as I think about it, yeah, I'm pretty much in a similar boat as you about the extra heavy lifting and everything. But
yeah, just these kind of stories don't really you don't see them in sitcoms much anymore. You don't see them in movies much anymore. And again, it's fine given the period piece that it's in and everything. But at the same time, just kind of this is kind of outdated. Your 60s/70s style in this movie is fantastic and beautiful. The story does not work the same way.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, it's Pixar. So
let me ask this: out of who we saw, who's your favorite super?
Oh, Frozone. Frozone's the best.
I agree. I'm right in the money. He's awesome. Fucking Iceman.
Frozone's awesome, and then probably Incredible.
Yep.
I mean, Mr. Fantastic or Mr. Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I say Mr. Fantastic because there's definitely correlation of powers between this family and the Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah,
and that's intentional, I think, in every way. But Mr. Incredible, super strong, and is he indestructible? I really can't tell. After watching both movies, I really don't know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say indestructible, but I'm gonna say insanely durable.
Yeah. Because he seems to worry about certain things hitting him, but
he does.
At the same time, it's like he never gets a scratch on him, and there'd be times where in this movie where it would have made sense for him to actually stick his head in something and stop it than worry about it coming closer to him.
It would, and I'm going to give him a no for indestructible, just because of, I mean, his dodging instincts are pretty sharp, but, hey, if he's indestructible, I don't think he'd feel a need to dodge Jack Jack's laser beams.
Yeah.
So, there's that. But.
Now, so getting a little bit more into Jack Jack, my understanding in the story, they were saying that a lot of superhero kids start out with multiple powers, but then they only go to like one or two. Was that the explanation?
Right. Edna was talking about how he's a polymorph, and it's common for some kids to exhibit a lot of different powers before they actually narrow down. The question is he actually going to narrow down? I wonder.
Yeah, that's pretty freaky.
Yeah, as calm as she was about it, I still raise an eyebrow about that, because I thought back to, this example we have right here, in their own family. You would have thought that if this was so common, that they would have made a comment that, Violet was like this, or that, Dash was like this, but there's no other grounds to follow that. So.
Well, and as young as Jack Jack is, for them to come to the conclusion that Jack Jack does not have powers,
right,
which would mean that the other two most likely showed powers much sooner.
Yeah.
Again, we're giving this more thought than we probably.
Yeah, we are.
Whatever. That's what I mean. Yeah, grade this one on the curve. It's fine. So, I guess we rate it 1 out of 10 polymorph kids.
Out of polymorph kids, I got to include the one that was stuck in the wall. I'm gonna give it 7.5.
7.5. Okay, all right. See, I'm gonna give it 2 ratings. Just like I said, I'm of two minds of this.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at it as a Pixar movie for kids, I give it a 9.
Yeah, definitely. It did what it was intended to, big time.
Right. Taking away that curve, I'm actually sitting in the same place, 7.5.
Yep. But no,
you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna have fun, but do not expect anything more than that's funny, good looking stuff.
Yeah. All that being said, lots of fun. We pointed at the score and the animation too. This is Pixar at its high form, and that is fantastic to see. And it's great to see them do what they do, even bigger and better, as always. So, zero issues with that. It's a visual feast. In that regard, and I always appreciate really, really well done, 3D form. So
it is Num Num Cookie for sure.
Num for sure.
That's what we should have rated them as. Num
Num Cookies.
I change it. 9 out of 10 Num Num Cookies and 7.5 out of 10 Num Num Cookies.
There we go. But yeah, if I agree, take this one, to see, with your family or with kids or with others. It does what it needs to do. And you know what? Just saying that it knows its target audience so well and sticks to that so well unashamedly, I'm gonna bump up. Let's get that cookie out of the wall and let's go 8. I'm gonna do 8. Solid 8. Solid 8. So, all right. That'll do it. But hey, what do you guys think? We'd love to hear from you. Please throw us a line that's right here down in the comments. Mash that like button, and hey, I'd love to hear what's up. Did you get the same impressions, different impressions? Or are you just wondering where the heck Underminer went? You think that's a setup for Incredibles 3? Let us know here. Other than that, that's going to do it for now. But stay tuned for our other upcoming reviews and reviews of shows. Bear in mind, as we've mentioned in a few other outlets lately, we got Voltron upcoming. And this June is not over. Jurassic World and plenty more. So
No, it's not.
So, but hey, thank you all for tuning in. And we'll see you next time. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, is there anything to go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but if great, if you could throw some support, you can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Yeah, who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and Maybe not mine. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.